Hello and welcome to History Amnesia. I'm on a trek to see if there's a connection with the claims of Alan Wilson and Baron Blackett that King Arthur II was here in America in the late 6th century. They claimed that a catastrophic event drove him and his people from their homeland of Wales to what is now America. In my early search, I came across a group of native people who were described as white Indians and thought I really need to come back to that and explore this a bit more. Recently, I started reading a book by Nathaniel T. Jeanson, They Had Names, when I came across a bit about the Mandan. He stated, "The early history of the Mandan is involved in obscurity, and that they affirm that they descended originally from the more eastern nations near the seacoast." He goes further to explain the Mandans were part of the earliest of the Siouan splits. What I like about Jeanson's book is that he links together genetics and linguistics to make connections, and puts a timeline in place that makes sense with possible connections to Attila the Hun. He tells an account of history that helps explain possible dates as well. To quote a passage from his book, "The Santee Sioux claim that formerly their old men kept a record of events by tying knots in a long string. By the peculiar way of tying them, and by other marks, they denoted the different events, fights, etc., and even smaller matters, such as births of children, etc. I once saw a slender pole some 6 feet in length, the surface of which was completely covered with small notches, and the old Indian who possessed it assured me that it had been handed down from father to son for many generations, and that these notches represent the history of his tribe for over 1,000 years. In fact, went back to the time when they lived near the ocean. This story was from the late 1800s, and 1,000 years prior, would place the tribe near the Atlantic seacoast in the late 800s AD. Two things I find intriguing. 1. If you believe the theories of Wilson and Blackett, this would coincide with dates of the Welsh being in America. I've often thought that 700 ships couldn't all have landed in Mobile Bay, Alabama. I suspected that many would have landed along the Atlantic coast, especially if they had problems and couldn't continue the voyage. If they arrived on the Atlantic coast in 574 AD, then it would make sense for the white, Welsh-speaking Indians to have existed there in the 800s. And it would also explain legends of King Arthur in Kentucky and his brother Prince Madoc in Alabama going their separate ways. 2. The notches. Just reading the details of the notches reminded me of Ogham. You can see these notches on headstones in Wales. There's evidence of Ogham in America in pictographs and petroglyphs as well. I love this story of this elder with his history notched on his staff. I picture a Moses-type figure carrying his staff and leading his people. The connections are there, if only we'd consider making them. I'm still a bit skeptical, but the more I research about our indigenous culture, I realize there was definitely an outside influence that affected our culture. If I wasn't a diffusionist before, I am now, that part is for sure. But I kept looking for something in this book to help prove by linguistics or genetics that these people were Welsh, and so far I just haven't found it. However, it won't stop me from continuing my search elsewhere. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. And click the notification bell so that next time a video is posted, you'll be notified. Thanks for watching.